I'm Michael. For the first 20-something years of my life, I didn't really care too much about what I ate until I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease and it felt like everything I ate made me sick. After a decade of restrictive diets trying to save my colon, I decided to have ileostomy surgery when I became Mick Flair, the colonless competitive eater taking on the biggest food challenges I could find. Now I'm toning it down on behalf of all IBDers, looking for the most fun, creative, and yeah, sometimes gigantic meals around to determine once and for all, what can you eat with an ostomy? Welcome back to our edition of What Can We Eat with an Ostomy. This is my mother. We're here at home for Christmas, and she's going to be showing us how she makes her lasagna, but we're using antelope meat for the rare meat. Why don't you go ahead and take it from here, let us know what you've done and then what you're doing step by step.
Well, what I do is I spray a pan with the nonstick spray, and then I just lay these down. I don't think I've ever used a pan this big, so.
Is this like a family recipe, or is this something you just like go online and get? Or?
I think I got it on the back of the lasagna noodle. I boiled a whole box of lasagna noodles. I'm laying down about a layer on top, and then maybe one more layer. Then I'll put the meat. Fried it in a frying pan with onion, and then I added a little bit of mushroom. Then when it was all cooked, I drained the grease and added a jar of just store-bought marinara sauce. So then I just spoon a layer all the way across the meat mixture. There I'll put a layer of ricotta cheese, then another noodle mixture, and then one more meat mixture. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself.
Yeah. What was that like for you, going through it just with, having me get just so sick so quickly, almost overnight?
Yeah, it was terrifying. I mean, I remember you originally called me on the phone and said you were having some stomach upset, and I didn't think too much of it. And I don't remember when that was, maybe September or October.
But I want to say by then, it actually had been going on, like just little by little, getting worse and worse. Probably about 2 weeks. I didn't want to say anything because I also didn't think it was that serious because, early on, I'm sure like many people, you just kind of think you maybe have the flu or a stomach bug or food poisoning or something. But after that long, I started to realize that something serious was going on, something more serious than that.
I'm just doing the ricotta cheese layer now. I just kind of put dollops, I guess, across. Yeah, so anyway, we were going up to Chico for the family Thanksgiving, and we came to pick you up at San Francisco State, and I remember I was shocked to see your physical condition. I thought, oh my gosh, something is really wrong. And that whole weekend, you were just so sick you couldn't do anything. So we cut short the visit and came back Saturday night. I had a doctor's appointment for you and got there. And I remember you came out like in 5 minutes, and I thought, and he had told you it was the flu, just don't worry about it.
Yeah. Just go home, have liquids and rest. Yeah. Just like you would do if you had the flu.
Well, we knew better than that. So we called, I don't know, or they may have referred you to the gastroenterologist at that point. And so he wanted to do a colonoscopy right away. And that was when we found out you had Crohn's, and it's like my world crumbled. I knew a girl back when I was in high school. Of course, that was like 20 years earlier, and she died from it. But then I found out later that she really did not take care of herself at all during the process. Kind of like really bad health habits. Now I add another layer of the noodles. So it was pretty devastating. Like you said earlier, you were like right out of college. You had your whole future ahead of you, and all I could think of is what kind of future is he going to have, and just worried constantly. I just flicked some cheese out there. Sorry. Worried constantly, like about you, and finally, the only thing I could do was just pray, and that's take one day at a time. Trust that God will take care of us, and that we would find the right doctors, and it was like a real trial. And I did learn then too that not all doctors have your best interest, or they may think they do, but it's not always your best interest. You have to be your own advocate and just follow up on everything, educate yourself as much as you could on everything, and basically that is basically it.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, if anyone's like newly diagnosed and like in a similar spot, of course, on the one hand, I was very fortunate. You can put the meat on.
Yeah, next, one more layer of meat. Then at this point, I will cover it with aluminum foil, which I also put spray some nonstick spray on the aluminum foil itself, so when I pull this off, it won't pull all the meat up. Then I probably will cook it covered for about 45 minutes, because everything is cooked. It just needs to thoroughly heat through. 45 minutes at about a 375 degree oven. Pull the cover off, and then I have some shredded mozzarella cheese that I will just sprinkle over and put back in the oven uncovered for about maybe 10 or 15 minutes until the cheese is melted. That's it.
Well, one thing, if anyone's in a similar situation, of course, on the one hand, I was very fortunate to have you guys to fall back on, because I know some people get in that situation, like their family's not supportive at all, or they're supportive, but like emotionally supportive, can't really do a lot for them, or choose not to, whatever the reason. But it was really hard for me being right out of college, because I just wanted to get healthy and get right back on with my life. And kind of like you were saying, like, what kind of future is there? Like, at some point, like probably within that first year, it just sort of hit me, like the realization of like, like basically your life path's not going to be the same as everyone else's, or
right.
That kind of thing, and you just got to get healthy. Otherwise, none of it's going to matter, because you're not going to have anything to be healthy for,
right.
Whether you're healthy or not. So I just finally had to kind of give into the thought that I'm going to be stuck back at home for a while, which in my case turned out to be almost a decade. But what advice would you have for any parents that have children, especially adult children?
At some point you were like sick enough that you couldn't do anything for yourself, so you just step in and be that advocate for them, and like check out every treatment or doctor, or you read up on it and find out what you can about it. And not everything works the same for everybody, but pretty much just stay on top of it. That's the best thing I can say.
Yeah, and I would say to further that, like from my perspective, obviously the children are going to be different too, but also be patient with the children, because I know I wasn't always patient with you guys, because you wanted to help so much, but sometimes
right.
there's nothing anyone could do, and it's just as frustrating for me, like trying things that just, at least early on, like nothing's going to work, it doesn't seem to help, and it can be very frustrating, and I'm sure I was not easy to deal with and not fun to deal with.
Well, it was so sad to see you like that, because you weren't like that.
Yeah, but I guess just to understand too that like the child themselves might be difficult and irritable and all that kind of stuff. So, but luckily I had surgery and everything's worked out very well for me. So, all right, so we got the lasagna. It's been in the oven for how long?
45 minutes.
45 minutes, and now we're gonna put the cheese on top.
So we're gonna uncover it. And I can feel it. It's not. You can see the steam. It's very hot. So I'm just gonna sprinkle mozzarella cheese. It looks evenly spread. And then I'll just switch over to the refrigerator. Get the Parmesan cheese. Sprinkle that. Whoops. I haven't got a little bit. Does that look good? I mean, enough?
Yeah.
Because I don't usually do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
And that's it. Back in the oven for 15 minutes uncovered, and that should be it.
And it's time to eat. My favorite part. All right, Sing's ready. Let's get this thing out. Oh, smells good. All right, we'll get my mom back in here and we'll finish it up. Okay. All right, as you see, the cheese melted. It's hot. It's ready to go. It smells good. Let's eat. All right, so finally I'm ready to try my slice of lasagna here. Can't wait. Looks delicious. So let's see what does antelope taste like compared to beef. Well, I figured with a lot of these exotic meats, by the time you mix in the sauce, cheese and noodles and all that, it tastes pretty similar to beef. It's a subtle difference, but it's hard to really get that pure flavor. Like just the pure meat might taste a little more different. Might be able to notice it, but very good. One thing I just have to be a little careful about. I didn't realize my mom was going to be putting mushrooms in the meat and sauce mixture, and that is one thing that I can eat mushrooms for sure, but it has routinely given me trouble sometimes passing, and I've had like some minor blockages. So that's one thing to be very, very aware of for me is mushrooms. I have to chew a little extra cautiously, but other than that, they're fine. There it was. A lot of cheese in that bite. Well, thank you all for tuning in. Delicious lasagna made by my mother, working it with an ostomy, rare meat and exotic meat. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas. Make sure you use the Christmas plate. My mother will be happy with that. Someone's actually using it. So I'll make sure that we thank them before we sign off, and I'll go see if I can track them down and thank them and just have them appear on camera one more time.